All right, let's get going, rock and roll. It is Thursday, July 24th, 2025. Live trading session with Income Navigator. We're going to go through charts today. We're going to put on some trades because I need to get some trades on uh, today. We'll answer certainly any questions that you guys might have. So I'll keep an eye on that overall. But let's get rolling on things. I'll get off the video. You don't need to see me. Let's get into some charts. And there's a bunch of trade opportunities out there. Not many in stocks, but a bunches of trade opportunities nonetheless. So let's jump in. All right, here we go. Let me get off screen. Let a few more people in. All right, let's get going. All right, so big moves up today in the market. Again, well, I don't know about big, but up 17 points on ES, which is overall pretty good. You can see that we are overextended on the daily for sure. We're at 74 on RSI. We're at the top of the Bollinger Band on the daily. We are getting, in my opinion, fairly overextended. Now, it doesn't mean the market's going to crash tomorrow or that we should be expecting a crash, but I certainly would think that a pullback uh, is expected. We have really not had much of any pullback at all for quite some time. So that being said, I think you can stay bullish, but cautious. And we'll take a look at just the overall markets outside of this. In fact, let's go to a weekly chart and let's just look at ES futures here. So if we're going to take a look at ES futures, now this is a weekly chart and it just gives you a little bit longer sense. I mean, you can see that a super long uptrend has been in place for a while. We are above on the weekly. We're above the 10-week and the 40-week moving averages. The 10-week is like a 50-day moving average, and the 40-week is like a 200-day. So we're above those substantially. So pretty bullish overall on the weekly, but just getting overextended here. And volume has not been great the last couple sessions. We'll see how it goes today, maybe after some earnings coming out. And if we look at just the longer term daily chart, and let me get that back to ES as well. So taking a look at at this daily chart here, I think the one thing I wanted to take a look at was you can see the third. Now, I'm sorry, this is the 8-day exponential in blue above the 21, above the 50. Everything is stacked nicely. We're above the 21. That's nice and bullish. The 8's above the 21. That's nice and bullish. We're on a bullish PSAR signal. That's all, again, bullish. RSI is climbing and it's above the 50 mark, but it's overbought in my opinion. So I think again, everything is green and good to go here on the markets, just getting overbought. So I think you just got to be a little cautious, but you're not seeing any rollover, any signs of real weakness necessarily. And you've got RSI hitting newer recent highs after these recent highs, which means you're not seeing any RSI divergence either. So I think that's all really, really, pretty bullish stuff. You would just like a pullback just to enter some additional trades, but we'll look at some trade opportunities today as we go through. But nothing has changed on ES here. Again, I would, I'm 112 still on ES. I think you can put on 112 trades. I would just be careful. I would rather put them on a little bit of a pullback, but I am bullish overall. All right, let's jump into oil. Oil just kind of meandering sideways. If you look at the weekly, I mean, this has been a slightly downtrending channel over time on the weekly. On the daily here, if we scroll in just a bit more on this thing, the 8's below the 21, which is below the 200, and you're right at the 50-day moving average. But these aren't like major divergences or crossovers or anything. You might have a little bit of a bullish opportunity here, but I think oil is still a strangle or a 112 opportunity away. So No change there. I think we're definitely going to get something on today because I have buying power freed up because I took some profits on UNH the other day, which is very timely yesterday. I closed out of my UNH uh, put credit spread and a naked put yesterday for really nice profits, and we've got plenty of buying power freed up. So we'll be looking at an oil trade for sure today. All right, if we look at gold here, come on. All right, if we look at gold, hopefully, again, you can hear me and the quality is good. It seems like things are a little slow. It could be the internet here, but uh, the eight's above the 21s, above the 50. Things are super strong. You can't even see the 200-day in the picture. That's how far above it we are on gold. We've been in this trading range now since really the middle of April. So, April, all of May, all of June, and now July. So 4 months in this trading range from bottom to top to bottom to top to the middle, back to the top, and a nice little pullback here again off of this resistance area, getting a little bit overdone, but I don't see any reason to not want it to be in gold here. I still think you can strangle this here, and I still think a 112 is a good trade opportunity. Let's double check in chat. Sound is fine. Thank you very much. Uh, so I think you gotta make make some decisions on what you want to do here. And when I say bullish, and because we're in the middle, we're right at the 21 EMA, close to the 50s. It's a little overdone on the weekly, but I still think a strangle sets up here. If you don't want to have risk to the upside, then certainly a 112 or a Jade Lizard is possible. And we'll talk more about. There was a question in chat, and I know Igor said we'd cover it more in a mastermind training session. But naked put versus Jade Lizard, really briefly, a naked put is when you're really bullish on something, and IV is decent. It's even though that's not necessarily a requirement for me. Uptrending stock, you want a good opportunity for somebody moving up. That's a perfect spot for a naked put, which I think you can do here. A Jade Lizard, just like a 112, these are neutral to bullish. Okay? If I'm super bullish, a naked put or actually buying leaps or calls or something might be the way to do. Neutral to bullish, but I don't want upside risk. That's where the Jade Lizard or 112 comes in. But I get more credit typically than I do with just a naked put. Uh, just a little less directional. So it can bounce, it can be sideways, it can be down. Even though you can do that with a naked put, you don't have the risk of assignment or any of those things. So I think that's really the main difference between the two is neutral to bullish, 112, Jade Lizard, and um, bullish, more like a naked put or a put credit spread. I think those are a little bit of your differences between the two. So when I say I'm bullish on something, I mean you can use um, whatever strategies are in your trade plan. So I'm giving you ideas that I'm trading, but you've got to look at your trade plan and decide, okay, if I'm bullish on something, what is my mechanism? Do you prefer just selling naked puts, which some people do? Do you prefer to just sell put credit spreads, which some people do? Do you want to sell a 112? Do you want to sell a Jade Lizard? You can use any of those, whatever your favorite piece is. All right, you can do. So anyway, Strangle on gold here and a 112 on gold, I still think are great opportunities. Bonds just remain a really good strangle setup, in my opinion. I think bonds do creep higher over time. We've had a nice move up, a little bit of a pullback the last 2 days. I think these set up really well for strangles. So I would be also looking at a strangle uh, here on bonds as well. All right, copper, briefly here, is in a nice, kind of a, cup and handle a little bit here, but this is just really on this cup, it's taking off to the upside. It's not really a strangle opportunity for me. If you want to be long it, that's fine. A 112 would work. Any of those types of things. I think a J lizard is actually not a bad spot because you could get a bit of a pullback, which would be great. So, are you super bullish or not? Looking at this chart, this is a pretty doggone bullish looking move here, and I certainly don't want to get stuck. Um, on the, covering my upside with with something like a short call, but you are getting uh, overbought as well. Uh, all right, just quickly, silver, same type of a situation. It's really been cranking its way higher. The trend continues to be up on silver. If you've been playing like 112s or naked puts or something like that on these, on every pullback towards like the 21 or something like that, it's been a good opportunity for you. No strangle setups at all in here. The Aussie dollar is a decent strangle setup, but it has really had a strong upward move. So I think you've got to be just a bit cautious on it here. I don't think it's the worst spot to be in for a strangle. It's hard to set up much of anything else on it, but I think a strangle is uh, still not a bad trade, but it's starting to get away a little bit here, but it's at the top of the Bollinger Band, which I think could provide a little bit of resistance. So again, I think a strangle on the Aussie dollar is almost always a fairly decent idea. When you look at this weekly chart, this thing is really a sideways trending, uh, opportunity. Um, a question in the chat, can you review, you want to look at IV on gold. So if you're looking at the IV on gold, it has certainly come down. It had a little bit of a pop, but really, if you're looking at the weekly here, it's pretty close to its normal levels in here. Might be easier. I don't know if I can see it on we should consolidate it, but it's definitely come down. So volatility on gold has just come lower. So if you are looking to buy gold, I think this is again is an opportunity. Lower IV for in gold. Nice pullback on it, which may give you the entry that you may want. And the IV rank on it, the IVR is only 16.6 on the futures. So you can certainly do that. Poor man's covered call on gold or GLD or GC futures. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. So I certainly think, when you look at the chart on gold here, and let's switch to the weekly chart looking at gold. There's the weekly chart. I mean, that's actually a pretty nice setup. So if I was looking at, let me get these off of here a bit so it can be clean for you. I mean, that's a great looking opportunity. You're not at highs on RSI, a little divergence actually. So this is the weekly chart on gold. And then if we switch over to the daily chart on gold, and there's a lot of stuff on the screen, but let's get this channel. This channel has actually been a solid channel. I think it's ready to potentially make another run higher, but I like gold. I don't think GLD would be the worst um, poor man's covered call to get into. Again, IV is a little low. We'd love like a little bit more IV. The problem with doing like an income poor man's covered call or something on it versus the standard poor man's covered call is I just don't know if you're getting enough juice on this thing, but we can certainly take a look at that. It was actually on my list for today of things to take a look at. Everyone's always asking, do we want to take a look at doing like a poor man's covered call or income poor man's covered call on futures? It's not my favorite thing in the world, but I certainly think we could take a look at it um, and do that. So we can look at futures or standard gold. All right, let's just roll through some stocks in here. And I'm going to leave this chart up, which essentially is, let me save here. This is just a daily chart. So let's take a look to see is there anything really setting up decently? I'd like the setup on gold, by the way. I think gold looks really good, and I like the setup on bonds for a strangle. I mean, look how nice this is for a strangle. And then I like the setup on oil for a strangle. I think this looks really nice for a strangle on oil. I think ES just looks a little too toppy. Okay, way overbought here. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, but I think you look at other opportunities here. So I want to get back to some of the things that I like to trade. I took advantage of UNH on that pullback because I really feel that they'll be fine. But it was such a great opportunity. We made a lot of money. We made thousands of dollars on UNH. We've made a bunch of money on MicroStrategy and Bitcoin or IBIT and some of the others and other stocks that we've been into. So we've made quite a bit on those now, but I'm going to go back to oops, there's a little bit of background noise. So I'm going to go back to, again, some of the strategies you guys here. Whenever the market gives us opportunities, I think you jump in and you take opportunity with those. I don't love stocks. I prefer to trade ES, oil, gold, bonds. Those are my four core trades. I'll trade some other things if need be. I'd rather stay in ETFs, and again, I'm out of all stocks in the trading account, except I have one trade left on UNH, which is up 5% or so. And then MicroStrategy, I don't consider the stock, but you can consider the stock. I consider it more of a Bitcoin ETF. I'm not going to get out of that thing anytime soon. So we're in good shape on those. We'll take a look at some of the trades in the main account in just a few minutes. All right, so let's keep going here with just handfuls of stocks. Even though I'm not really going to put any on, and here's why. If you look at the RSI on these, you're getting overbought. We haven't even had Amazon earnings yet. This thing is really, really popping higher. It looks great. In fact, I'm going to take off some of these pieces on here just to keep this thing clean. This trend line just continues. Okay. Amazon looks great. And I think if you get into it at any point, I think you're fine. You're in good shape. I would love to get a little bit of a pullback, and I think that would give us best chance to be successful. All right. And again, that's really the key, is what's the best chance for entry and being successful. NVIDIA looks good, but we got earnings, just like Amazon. These stocks look great. There's nothing wrong with them. They're a little overdone. You got earnings coming up. I think you just don't want to be in them necessarily with earnings. They could pop. That's just not my game. Hood, I like the pullback on Hood. We got earnings coming up, so I'm going to stay out of it, but I love this pullback on Hood. I think this might be giving you an opportunity. I think 100 is a support level on it. I wouldn't blame you for getting in, but again, you're getting in right before earnings on Hood. I think it looks good. You just got to wait for earnings. Palantir, same type of a scenario. You're almost a little overbought. Earnings is coming up. I probably don't want to be in it for that. All right, Tesla. Tesla on a down day today, dropping 29 points, bad earnings, missed on revenue, missed on EPS. Still think it's a solid company when it comes to the product line. I think if you're looking at the car itself, the EV market, I don't really care. Okay, I've never really liked Tesla for the car. Okay, I like Tesla for all of the robo-taxi, robo-van, the battery and storage and energy plays that it's in. I love it for the Optimus robot and the AI. I think Tesla is a fantastic tech company, and I think anytime you get opportunities down here, and I'm going to draw a trend line along the bottom here, which is pretty interesting, that if we look at this here on Tesla, if you can see, hit it once, almost hit it twice, hit it again here today. Now, we can certainly break through this symmetrical triangle to the downside. So I think you got to give it a day or so on the gap down, but now it's got a big gap. Gaps get filled, and I think we keep an eye on Tesla in here. Would not be surprised to see some rebound here. I think good. Get the bad earning, bad noise out of things, and then let Tesla do what Tesla does, which eventually is, I think, be a good, solid um, tech company down the road. Don't get caught up about EVs in China. Who cares? Okay, I really don't care about cars. If everybody else cares about cars, I think you're missing the point of what Tesla is. All right. Anyway, that's just opinion. Let's move on. All right. Meta looks good on this sideways consolidation here. I think it's an opportunity play, but you gotta wait for earnings. It's frustrating. We got to wait for earnings. Apple starting to look halfway decent, really starting to get going. You had this cross back here of the 8 over the 21 and then the 21 over the 50. This was a good opportunity in Apple. I guess got to wait for earnings, but I don't think Apple's bad. Right? Google, great earnings out last night, getting a little bit of a pop on this thing. Let's keep it here. Good pop up on Google. If you're in it, great. If you're not, I don't know that this is the spot to get in Google. I think you got to wait for the pullback. You got Microsoft earnings coming up, nothing to do there. Costco continues to just slide lower. It is oversold, so I don't think it's a bad area. Don't love the downtrend in Costco. It's really been giving back quite a bit. I think we have to start to look at uh, potential areas where this thing might find some support. And if we threw some fibs on here of the major move off the lows, okay, we've now broken the 618, which is a little bit more concerning because there's not a whole lot of anything down here to hang our hat on. The 618 is kind of what I was watching in here to see if we could bounce, and we did not. So we've missed that. Uh, so I think that, a little bit more concerning on this thing. Does it keep going lower? But we'll just keep selling, probably at the money and more in the money. And with the 8 below the 21, I will sell farther in the money calls, even in my lazy trader account. We'll talk more about that, but I'm probably going to go in the money on calls for a while. All right, HIMS, nice recovery yesterday. I don't know why these anchored VWAPs keep showing up this way. HIMS, nice big move up yesterday, and then giving back a little bit of that today. Hasn't filled the gap completely. Got to get up to about 61.78 to fill the gap. Still think it's a good long-term company. Stays on my list. Just concerned on where it's going. JP Morgan, love this cup, the little handle, the breakout here. We got another little cup forming on this thing. I think it's heading to new highs. AMD, good shape. Here you got earnings coming up, so I don't think there's anything you can do on that. SoFi, you got earnings coming up, and nothing to do here. We're in it. We're just holding it. It is getting very extended, but we'll take it. Maybe it's just finally just doing what it's supposed to have been doing all along, and it took forever. I've hated this stock a long time, love the company, hate the stock, and now the stock is finally starting to get its momentum going. But you got earnings, so you got to wait. Coming up, last few things here. Uber, I do like Uber. I think this chart looks pretty good on Uber. I mean, overall, this is a sideways to an uptrending stock. Certainly for the last year, it has been uptrending. You get these, moves higher, pull back to the 50, move higher, pull back to the 50, move higher, pull back to the 50 again. You got earnings coming up, so I think you got to be cautious on it. But I like Uber. I think that thing's setting up. And then Netflix here, I threw some fibs on for you guys. Take a quick look at this thing. Uh, we're heading lower towards this 38.2 fib in here. I don't know that we're getting to the 50 fib, but I've been waiting for this thing to give us some opportunity. I don't know that the opportunity is here yet on it. I mean, the momentum is all down, so there's no reason to jump in front of, this train as it's moving down. Nothing good right now. You've got the 8 below the 21, the 21 heading to the 50, a bunch of crossovers starting to happen to the bearish side. So we just wait. Uh, we just wait on Netflix, but I think Netflix, if we get some recovery, either the 38 or the 50 fib, and the 50 could be interesting. Uh, on this one. The 618 would be even more amazing, be down to the 21. If that happens, this definitely to me is an opportunity to play that. All right. And then we're also in Berkshire Hathaway. It's now starting to get its momentum going. Coke had good earnings in here. Apple's doing well. So Berkshire Hathaway really starting to do well. This is a good thing for us. We own this in the Lazy Trader account. We own Boeing in the Lazy Trader account as well. 8 above the 21, 21 above the 50, stacked, moving higher, above the PSAR. All good. Nothing to be concerned of there. And an ARM, I think, also is an opportunity play coming up. I like this, really big cup handle. I think we want to watch for, the breakout in this range up here. Okay. If we get a breakout on that, in fact, we could probably even take this thing sideways here, and it's pretty close on these. So I think if you get this breakout above here on ARM, and you got earnings coming up, that could be the catalyst for the break. I like this stock a lot. This was the opportunity as it bangs on this 50, buy it. Bangs on the 50, buy it. So every time you hit in this 50, as long as the 21's above the 50 and the 8's above the 21, any of these pullbacks I think are great opportunities on it. So I do like ARM a lot. Let's take a look at ServiceNow. Earnings yesterday, it's really been a pretty good stock. Okay. If you look at this thing over time, it's been up, had that little pullback in here. Okay. But other than that, and now it's been a very sideways moving stock. I don't use ServiceNow. People that I know that use ServiceNow don't love them, which makes me hesitant on this company. But with earnings yesterday, nice beats. This is not a bad spot. Bullish PSAR triggered yesterday at a big move, came way back down. I think if you give it a day or so, this might be an interesting play. If it continues to move sideways to up, I think those are great setups for the income form and covered call. Now I think you have decent volatility, so I think it's not a bad play. UNH just meandering down in this same zone uh, down here. I think you just leave it, you just keep making your plays. Okay, it's in this bearish trend right now, so I'm going to hold off. Not going to do anything right now. I'm letting the plays I have just play out, but I don't mind it. Earnings are coming up. I'm sure earnings will not be fantastic, but it's really what is the guidance going to be. They're cooperating with the Department of Justice, so I don't really think that's um, I don't think it's a bad play. Service later, yeah. I have not heard anybody that uses now has not liked it. The stock has been a decent stock, but I don't know anybody that really likes that company at all. Uh, and then Shop has also been, I think, a really great opportunity here. You've got earnings coming up, so I think you got to stay out. This earnings really are mucking things up this time to get into some things, but this is a nice looking chart. It's getting a nice pullback here. Man, I really like Shopify in here. I really think this thing looks good for a play. You could do a poor man's covered call or an income poor man covered call on that. All right, last quick things, and let's move to some trades. We're at the half-hour mark here. Bitcoin breaks the new highs, consolidates. I mean, that seems to be just the constant with Bitcoin is breaks the new highs, consolidate, breaks the new highs, consolidates. Now it's consolidating again, coiling up, getting ready to go, and maybe we'll see some new highs again, which means IBIT, for me, this is the way I play it. It's a great holding. I'd love to actually add more shares to IBIT, and I think I may do that in the account is I've got a decent amount. I've got 10 contracts, okay, so which is 1,000 shares of IBIT. It's at 67. Okay, you don't really get a lot of margin relief on this thing, but uh, we've made decent money on IBIT. And if I look at what I've made overall on IBIT, reinvesting your gains back into it is not the worst thing in the world uh, to look at either. So IBIT, we have, we've made about $5,000 in 42 days. So we've made $5,000 in 42 days. It's up 20% for us. The whole trade's up 20% for us. Uh, $5,000, I mean, essentially that's another, contract. So I could probably add another contract here of IBIT at these levels, I think, and continue to move this thing uh, and add to Bitcoin. I want to be long in Bitcoin. And now MicroStrategy is essentially Bitcoin on steroids or leveraged, whatever. It's like a 3x, 4x leveraged um, piece, although it does have a little bit more volatility as a stock. Get some of this junk off. But I really like MicroStrategy, and not just because of, I mean, I got earnings coming up, but I don't know that anyone cares about earnings. Um, so it's going to miss earnings. It always does. Okay, look at all these earnings. They're all red. It misses every time because nobody cares about the stupid software, that this thing has. What we want to do is on earnings. Okay. We're waiting to hear what Michael Saylor's doing next, what buys, what's he doing, how's he, growing the Bitcoin reserve. And as long as he doesn't say something crazy, the thing performs well. We're heading into earnings. I'm not really going to change my strategy because I don't think earnings has much of an impact. But the fact that we've come down to the trend line, we're getting close to the 50. This is not a bad spot, for me to want to add potentially some more. Now, that's a hard margin trade. Uh, for us, it chews up a lot of our account. We've um, got a lot of capital tied up into MicroStrategy. I'm only at 2 contracts, but that's a lot. We keep generating cash. We're going to generate on these covered calls. We may take them off today for close to almost 3,500 in 6 days. So I love this. I love these things. So we'll keep plugging on it. But I like MicroStrategy. All right, I think that's a lot of different stocks we've looked at. Oh, and as soon as Tom Lee got into the Ethereum, trying to do the same thing with his company that MicroStrategy is doing with Bitcoin, he's trying to do the same thing now that he's the chairman of the board on this thing. And I don't remember what he. I was not even tracking that stock because it's just kind of ridiculous. But yeah, Ethereum just exploding after really a long period of down and then sideways and then an explosion up and then XRP giving some back. I wanted it. I liked it. I think if we get a pullback, I might try getting back in again on XRP. I think it's a good way to potentially play things. All right. So there's a lot of different things here. Let's get into some of the things I think that really matter to me on it. Any opinion on Walmart? And Walmart. Just super sideways. I mean, this thing's just going nowhere. It's going up, over time, and it's just kind of languishing here. Now, it's pretty interesting that Walmart is just really sideways and Costco is really getting beat up. Pretty similar, the two big retailers, when it comes to it. Momentum looks like it's getting going on Walmart. Look how tight these. I mean, if you were playing a strangle on Walmart, I think that's a great opportunity. If it continues to drift higher, I just don't know how tariffs are going to affect it, but I think you could do something like a poor man's covered call or something along those lines here and own this thing. And I think over time, Walmart probably drifts higher, and this may not be the worst time to get into it. So I think it's not a bad play. I think there might be better plays out there um, that are a little bit more juicy than this one. It's probably a little bit more boring, but standard poor man's covered call or something like that would not be the worst thing for Walmart. All right, there you go. All right, so there we have it. Let's keep going. Let's get into some trade opportunities. Oh, real quick, stock screener. I still use like the trading view stock screener just to look for income plummet covered calls. It gave me Nvidia, but the earnings are coming up. But I do like it. Eli Lilly was another one. Earnings are coming up on Eli Lilly. Let me get here and take a look at Lilly, which I know we have. Okay, so on Lilly, it's really been sideways for quite some time. Looks like it might start be getting, its legs back under it. It's not a bad spot in here for poor man covered call. Something to take a look at. ServiceNow did pop up. It hits all of the requirements, really, so that's not a bad trade. App 11. Okay. Not bad, but you got earnings coming up. This thing's been more sideways to slightly higher currently, so I think, just hold there. Robinhood, which I'm very bullish on. I just want to pull back and let's get through earnings. Um, Axon, which we follow, and VRT, which we follow, are both interesting. So VRT is one of my stocks that I follow, but you got earnings coming up, so I got to wait for earnings. And then Axon is one that I follow for the drone stocks. Okay. And this thing has been rolling over and pulling back. So right now I'm out, not really paying attention to it uh, at all for now. Let's see where it goes, but it's not going to hit my list of things to jump into. All right, there's enough of that. Let's get into some trades. Yeah, and same thing. I go to Sam's Club. I mean, we do go to Walmart for some things, but we do like Sam's Club better. And we do like Costco. I think Costco's great. So, all right, let's get into the trading account and take a look. And we want to get some trades on today. All right, things are good in the account today. No real worries on anything in here. We've got this 112, which is now up to 83%, and I think I'd like to get a strangle on in oil. So I think we'll take a look at going out around 90 days, 84 days. I think we're going to look to put on a strangle in oil. I certainly think this 49 and this 50, both of these work pretty well. We'll go to 50 just to go up a little bit, and then we'll stick to uh, probably something around this 88, 87. We'll go to the 87. We'll go just a little higher on our delta than normal. We're going to take in 790 on 30, on 3,300. This is around about 25% uh, gain. Okay, and let's do 3 contracts on it. And we'll send that to be filled, but this is the trade that I would be looking at on CL right now. So this is the trade that I just put on because I think, again, strangles are a good opportunity in oil right now. So I'm going to pop this into Discord while we talk here. So give me a second because computer's running just a tad slow. Resources, trade ideas, hang tight, trade ID. All right, so this would be the CL Strangled, and this is at 84 DTE. All right, so there's trade number one. I like this. I think a 112 would also be fine in oil here. I don't think you can really go wrong with either. Well, you can go wrong, but I think they're both good ideas at this point. Let's look at like the 60, 59, 53 for a 112, just something along these lines. This would be what I would be looking at as far as a 112. Let me make sure it's all good. Okay, for a 112 on oil, this is what I would be looking into. This gives me a $510 tail using about 81.21 in margin. So this is exactly 6% in 2 months, which is 3% a month. So fits my criteria. I like it. So if I was going to do a 112, this would be my play. Hang on, there's a question. Bear with me. Okay, so let's look at posting this in the Discord as well. So here you go on a 112, 112, and this is 55 DTE. Okay, so those trades are both good in my opinion. Something I want to get into. Let's take this one down. Let's drop it to 78. It's still fine. Okay, I'm going to get in, close that one. So we're into a strangle now on oil. All right, and we'll take that. We're going to put in an order to close it at 50% someday. All right, and we'll just see how that thing unfolds. All right, so we're in a strangle on oil. I'm not going to do anything on ES right now. We've got just two naked puts left because we've already closed out. One's at 74, one's at 52. Those are in great shape. Nothing to do on those. So let's jump into gold. Now, gold I've already got two trades on, a Jade Lizard and a 112. I really don't want to overload. I don't really want to take either one of these off. I don't want to overexpose myself to gold. I like it, but I don't want to do any more gold futures trades here. So let's take a look at ZB. Okay. And again, people have asked ZB, ZN, which ones you like. You can pretty much pick and choose either way. I'm going to strangle this thing. We're going to do like the 101 and would be our pretty much our standard setup. 101, 126 on this. We're going to take in 469 on $2,000, so about 500 on $2,000. Again, about 25%, which is a good setup for us. And I'm going to add this trade. So I want to get back into some strangles. So we'll see what happens. 29. Put it in for 29. Got filled. Okay. All right, so we'll take that. We now have a ZB strangle running. And I'll put in a 50% profit target on that. Okay, perfect. And I just want to have those set up. I'll post those trades. So there we go. We got two trades on today that we liked. The other trade, I think we want to take a quick peek at on here. Oh, yes. So the BITX play that we made the other day. So we put this trade on, and the goal for us was to generate. Let me pull it up on here too in the trades. So when we placed this trade, this was a buy right trade. Okay, so we bought the July 25 calls going out. I'm sorry. We bought the June 18th calls. Oh, sorry. To next year, we bought those just as the long shares on that, and then we sold the short-term covered calls 3 days out on this thing. And all I was trying to do was capture the extrinsic from the in the money call on this. As long as we stayed above 63, which we are, I wanted to get most of the extrinsic out. Now, I put this on for 1875 uh, on the trade. Hey, but it was in the money cost. I still have 187 of extrinsic left in there, but my goal was to get the extrinsic value out of this thing, okay, which is like $1.25 or so. We've now made $260 on this trade, which is 2% in 2 days. So a 2% trade in 2 days is not too shabby. I'm going to let it go a little bit more. If we get any kind of a boost, fine. If not, I like the trade setup. As long as we stay above 63, we'll be fine tomorrow. If not, then we'll readjust that trade. Hang on in there. 120-day naked put. I would like to get that on. I would love a down day. So I'm gonna wait. Like I don't. Market timing is not a great idea because we could keep going up. I'm going to give myself an extra day or two. To be honest on that, I would like to see us pull back. We're just so overbought that even though it's a mechanical trade, I just want a doggone down day to put the 120-day trade on, even though technically the trade is take it off, put the new one right back on, and don't worry about it. But I think at this point, I'm going to worry about it um, with it. So uh, bear with me on it. I'll probably get it on, but we'll see. MicroStrategy, let's go. IBIT. I would like to add more shares to this, so I think I'll wait until this one comes off tomorrow. We've got $83 of extrinsic, so I'm just going to wait. I'll wait till tomorrow and then take that thing off. Nothing to do there. MicroStrategy here. This one, we can take it off, but we could just wait. It's still $480 worth of extrinsic on this thing. It is at 87%. It's not at 90. It's still $7 away. Now this thing can move $7 in a day. MicroStrategy typically will move right now. MicroStrategy, the ATR is about 16 points. So it moves like 16, it can move like 16 points in a day. Okay, so that could certainly move up and blow past our strike, which is fine. It's not really a big deal for me. We're doing great on the underlying, and it's just I'll wait till I get my 90%. It's not being super greedy. It's just kind of following the mechanics on it. If you were going to do a MicroStrategy now, and I wanted to take a look at this thing. Okay, we would be looking at, and it has had a nice pullback, so it's not the worst spot, I think, to look at a new trade on MicroStrategy in here. If you were to do that, you've got earnings, which you do have to be cognizant of earnings, even though they don't really matter as much. I think you have to be at least aware of it. How far do you want to go out? If you went out just over a year to September 18th, you could do the synthetic. So remember, we could either buy the leap, okay, which would cost us about 17,845 to buy the leap, the 290 leap at the 80 delta, 17,845, or we could do, whoops, okay, the synthetic, okay, here, which is going to cost us a lot less than that. So now I'm only spending about 23,000, really, 2,300 or so on it. So a lot less expensive to do this. And then I might even consider putting a protective put at 20% below here, which would be about 20% here would be 80 points. 80 points from here would be about 330 or so. So if you want to put that protective put in, limits your downside, okay, increases your cost a bit, but still, you could be buying the leap for 178,000 for 17,800 at the 290, or I could do the synthetic, okay, for $7,800. Okay, I think this is the better deal. So if I was going to add a new MicroStrategy, I'd probably add it here and do the synthetic and set this up. Hopefully this makes sense to you. Um, and I have a protective put. So I have limited my downside exposure on MicroStrategy. And then I would be selling weekly. And then right now, because MicroStrategy is, it's, the stock itself, the market, Bitcoin market's doing pretty well. So when we look at the Bitcoin market, it's doing well, it's bullish. MicroStrategy is pulling back a bit. I would really go probably still trying to make my 1% on this and without getting too crazy. So 1% of something that sells for 410 bucks, 1% is like $4. So $4 of extrinsic is, right around here. Okay. Somewhere around here. Let's round it up a little bit. This would get me a 1% a month return on the stock. But remember, we own the underlying for a lot less money. Uh, so the return's actually going to be even better, but this gives you protection, in the money protection. I still make 500 bucks on this thing. So overall, I think you're in pretty good shape. However you want to do this, but I could make $500 a week going in the money on these and getting almost 467 on it. Okay. So that's how I would consider setting this thing up. With it, I would be selling the 448. So let's go back really quickly. I'm going to run out of time. Whoops. Okay. But, right, if I did the synthetic, buy the call, sell the put, okay, and overall, this thing's only going to cost me, 2130 for this trade. So 2,000 for the same amount instead of spending 41,000 or something here. I can do this and buy, I think it was the protective put. So let me post this trade in the Discord as well. So I'll give you guys, people still coming in, but I'll do my best. Okay, let's do this. So this would be, I'm going to post it in the Discord, so hang tight. Trade ideas. Okay, this would be the MSTR, IMPCC. This is the long position. Okay, so that long position, again, is going to cost us about $7,600, 7,600, and we're going to take in about $460. So what's 460 divided by 7,600? Okay, we're going to get a 6% return on our basis versus, even though we're only 1% return on the stock here, and I've covered myself 12.5 points to the downside. So if this thing slides lower by 12 bucks, we're going to make all of this $26, $27. But really, the extrinsic is what I care about. So if it goes up, I still make the extrinsic, which is 460. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. You understand this income plummeting covered call strategy a bit. Okay. So there you go. I'll give you both of those. I like the trade. I probably would consider this myself today. Have to like a buying power on MicroStrategy. The Qs, nothing to do on those. Have a little bit of extrinsic left. Not much. Not going to do anything with those. Same thing here. SPY. Those are fine. Don't have to do anything. And then UNH here. This trade's down. UNH is down 10 points today. Wow, it's getting hammered. Uh, this is just a naked put at 260. So if we lose, we lose. We've made so much money on it. I'm not going to do anything on this thing. There's 8 days. Can we fall 22 more points in 8 days? Well, sure we can. And if we do fall more, I'll stop out at my normal stops on UNH. All right, I think that covers most everything. We're at the top of the hour. A couple trades on. With it, we will enter those into the spreadsheet. Question really quickly was putting a ZB trade in the spreadsheet. So you have to understand, and give me a second here. I'll give you the formula on ZB. It's been a while since I have traded ZB on here, but with ZB, okay, when I'm putting it in the spreadsheet, and let's share the spreadsheet with you. People in the waiting room, but no sense in jumping in. Let me switch to the trade tracker app. All right, we're going to put this trade in right now. Okay, so this is 7/24 today. The trade is 4/22. We sold to open ZB. And what did we do today? So today was the October 24, 10/24. This was a strangle. And did I do that right? No, hey, give me a second. Give me a second. Not sure exactly why I did that piece, but hold on. Let's just steal this one because it's easier to show you guys. All right. Okay, the strangle that we just put on was what, 101, 126. Okay, now I put in the actual amount, which is 29. So 29 was my strike price, which is the 0 to quote 29 ticks. So 29 ticks on that. Okay, I did 5 contracts of that. DT is 92 days, so we know that already, right? And then it calculates it out, but I use 15.625 times the number of contracts times the ticks that we have in there. So that's how I account for ZB. So this one here is 15.625 on that. Margin was 10.089 on this, and this was not a spec trade. This was a ZB strangle, or really a futures strangle, I believe. Right. So that's it. And so when you're calculating the P&L, the same thing is I'm using the 15.625 as my as my number to multiply by in here. Sorry. So 15.625 is what you want to multiply times the full number after the quote or the quotes piece there, so that you know how many ticks. So 29 times 5 contracts, okay, times 15.625 is it. So that's how you can record that. So we got that strangle on, and then we did also add another strangle in oil. The oil one's a lot easier to deal with. And I sometimes go to my closed ones and I'll grab like a previous strangle in something. Okay, and then I'll paste it back just so I don't have to constantly change. But once you've done them a bunch, then those are easy. 724 today. This will be 423. This is CL. And on the CL one, I got to run here, but on the CL one, this is October 16th of this year. It is a strangle. And we did the 50.87 strangle. We did it for 78 cents here, and we did 3 contracts on it. And we'll call that a futures strangle as well. So we did add 2 strangles on here today. All right, and that's pretty much it. We're out of pretty much all stocks. We only have one UNH naked put left. We've got the GC Jade Lizard and 112s. We've got that BITX short-term trade that we have in here, which is profitable nicely today by like 1.5%. So hopefully we'll be fine on that. We'll see. We got a CL trade. So UNH last stock trade, and then I'm back out of stocks. Whoops, for until I see the next opportunity. We've got 2 income compartment covered call trades, the IBIT and the MicroStrategy trades or strategy. And then I have the SPY QQQ ones that I always have going. We have the 2 strangles now and the 112s. I'm down to only 2 naked put tranches left. Look at all of these put debit spreads that are in there. So we're in pretty good shape on all of that. All right, hopefully that was helpful for you guys today. We're going to close it up. I will post this up as soon as I can, and we will see you guys back in the Discord. I hope this was helpful for you. We'll see you later.